How do you know how many people the venue like? Do you know? All right, this artist is good for 1,000-person venue.
Yeah.
This artist is good for 4,000-person venue.
Yeah.
Like, how do you? Obviously, it's never a set science, or maybe it is. How do you determine the size of a venue?
It's a good resource. Polestar is good.
Polestar?
Polestar is
That's
good.
like a website?
It's like a website.
It's a website you can purchase a membership.
You can
to.
purchase
What is that?
So it's basically it keeps stats of like every show that happens. Like any artist, they go on tour, they touring
Their past history.
Yeah. Yeah. So their touring history is real concrete, it's real detailed, and it tells you like how artists perform in every market that they hit. It's not every show because every show doesn't calculate on there, but like those big tours, you can see it. And you can see how much they generated, like, and what's the numbers. You can see a lot of good information.
So you can say, okay, this person did 1,000 people in Philly, so the venue of 1,000 people 4,000 people doesn't make sense because he's never done that before.
Right.
But we also keep we keep ourselves grounded. So like in Philly, we hitting the clubs, we hitting other concerts, we watching artists from the start. So we've had artists that jumped. Like we did Lil Durk. We was doing Lil Durk when he was doing 2,500 people. We was selling them out. But then just in July, we did 9,000 people and sold Lil Durk out, which that's like was a huge jump when you think about touring. Like an artist going from being a 2,500, 3,000 person artist to now 9,000 person artist. But it was like we seen the growth, like we seen the build up with Lil Durk. We knew what he had going on, so he wasn't afraid to take that shot of putting him at a venue that hold 9,000. So it's about just paying attention. There's some artists that came out that we knew, like the first time we booked Lil Baby, we knew Lil Baby was ready for 2,500 people in the city. We ain't have to start at the 1,000 or 1,100 person space because we knew like, all right, he on fire right now. And with our brand, with our marketing strategies, we know we can sell out the Fillmore. So it just depends on the artist, depends on the situation. But Polestar has been good for us as well as just us always staying grounded and close to the people. So that way we can know like, all right, this artist could really work.
I was gonna say House of Blues is like, that's like the 25. So that's like going from House of Blues to going to like an NBA arena.
Yeah, like a small, or like college arena, like 9,000. Yeah.
One of the things that y'all mentioned the relationships. You said Baby, you said Dirt, you said P&B. How are y'all managing to keep sustainable relationships with them? Because that's tough. Like a lot of times people just book them and you pay them and it's like, all right, that was a fee and then here for business and let's move on. But y'all are managing to keep sustainable relationships where you can bring Baby back, you can bring Dirk back. Because there's something on that you guys are doing. Must be right.
Well, our slogan since we started has always been "Ain't no shows like dope shows," and we really put a lot into that. Whether that's with the production with the artist, we actually create like the screen work that goes on behind the artist. A lot of times they get bored into that, whereas like we actually make their show look different than they has looked as they travel all over the world, as well as like the backstage experience or making sure that you're making them feel good when they in the city, when they in your market. Also talking with the artist, like it's important to us. In the beginning, we was so focused on the business, we was less focused on the artist. And at one point it kind of clicked for us, like we booking a lot of the same people. So let's build these relationships. Like the first time we booked Fab, we ain't really talk much with Fab backstage in Philly, but then when we booked him in Boston, it was like we was chilling with Fab in Boston. So then that started the relationship. Where with Dirk, it was like the first time we booked Dirk, it was cool, we was in Philly, but then a month later we had him in DC. And it was like, now you consistently seeing the artist on a regular basis and now you talking with them and getting them brought into the brand. Like when we was doing our festival, it was like letting them know like it's two black men that built a festival in our city. We both from West Philly. The festival was in a venue that's actually in West Philly. So it was like just getting artists brought into that. So they kind of be brought into our story into the brand. So it's like that usually help as well.
Are y'all booking them into that time? Like, are you saying like, all right, if they need to be on stage by 8, are you telling them to show up by like 6:30?
Yeah. Okay. Also, in addition to that, like first time Lil Durk performed with a band was at our show. Our production guy who's been with us even like back when we first started, before he got with Durk, he's with Durk now. He's Durk's like tour manager. Like he runs Durk's whole tour. We had a conversation. I was like, me and Mary, we was at lunch with him. I was like, man, like Durk, his music really is like rock and roll. Like it really is. Like when you think about it, like it's got like a very musical element. And I was like, it'd be crazy if he did a band. Like this was just like for our show. And And I was like, really think about it. I was like, y'all don't really perform like that Drake song. Like, that's a crazy song. Like, think about the horns on that song. Brr, 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 brr. I'm like, you should put a band
doing that.
You should put a band behind that. And they end up doing that band, and they perform with a band. And Dirk, his set is amazing. And it's like that small thing. Like, we was with him when he was just going out there with a DJ and his homies. But just that small change in his tour and his show, it made a huge difference. And I'm happy that the guy we work with was able to implement that into his whole career. And it's just amazing to see it grow.
Yeah, and it's just crazy. Like, that started in Philly, and then he ended up taking that same band, a bunch of Philly guys, like his drummer, his pianist, all of them, his Philly guys that started on the Dope Show stage, and then they went around the world with that same tour, that same set
on the Back
from
Outside
our show,
tour.
on the Back Outside tour with Lil Baby.
Yeah.
So as far as the promotion, I want to talk about this. Do you put in the contract for the artist that they have to promote on their social media?
Yes.
Yeah. And that's sometimes a wrestle pending.
So what's
But
the
usually
language
they do it.
that you usually use?
Very specific. If it's an IG page post, this many IG page posts, this many story posts, this drop, this when it's supposed to happen.
Yeah,
so
I was about to say
we very
dates.
specific.
So like a lot of times we'll say like we want a page post, the day the tickets go on sale, and we specify the date.
Then, like, how long you gotta leave it up for?
Yeah.
Won't necessarily say how long they got to leave it up for. It's just usually like we want it to go up on this day, and then if they, a lot of times they let it live if they end up actually doing it,
because it make a difference. I mean, that's your connection with your fans. And one thing about Fab, like you were saying, like Fab, he's 40,000, like he's still that price. Yeah, he want the promoter to make money, and like as an artist, you should want the promoter to make money. Whether it's us, whether it's Live Nation, whether it's Rolling Loud, whoever it is, you should want them to make money because they're gonna be able to they're gonna want to book you again and again and again. It's just like anything else. So I feel like when you get out there and you promote the show and you do stuff that you're supposed to do, it's important. It's like it's making the train ride right along, nice and smooth.
You know who's the best person that we've come into contact with? Take a guess. Artist.
I just gotta say Fab because
shout out to Fab, but
I
not
would say
Fab.
Ross.
Shout out to Ross. Nah, Ross is good too.
Ross was promoting our show like crazy. Shout out to Ross.
Ross is solid, but I was gonna say Jim Jones.
Yeah.
Jim Jones, he has no rider. Never asked for anything. Like, and we did the show at the Apollo, and we got him, and he asked me for the flyer.
Yeah.
Like, I ain't even asked him to post a flyer.
Yeah.
Because it was already gonna sell out already, but his team reached out like, "Yo, Jim, can you get us the flyer?"
Yeah.
Jim posted it, put the whole like, "Yo, sell out! It's gonna sell out quick. Make sure you get it." Then had Santana posted because Santana was there. Shout out to Joel. So
They understand. I grew up like in a crew. Well, I used to be. He probably don't remember. I used to be around Jim Jones when I was younger, and it's like they come from that era where it was like they had to hustle to be where they at.
Yeah.
So they understand. Like, man, these black guys, they see like it's like like help them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Why not?
Like, what are you gonna lose from that?
Yeah.
So yeah.
And you actually getting paid to be there.
Yeah.
So it's like, why are we pulling teeth? And you see the cycle. It's like an artist who act like they don't want to post, and then you'll see 18 months from now, nobody even booking you.
Yeah.
Like, it's like you was better off posting when you had the opportunity.
Yeah.
Contracts. How important is it to have contracts in place and not just a handshake agreement?
Yeah, it's super important.
Very important.
Very, very important, very specific, very like it makes everybody accountable for sure. So yeah.
Holds everybody accountable. And in this business is a lot of things that you don't necessarily know what's gonna come, right? We ain't know we was gonna be sitting down for 15 months because of COVID. So it's like when you got those handshake deals, those won't be able to hold up when you're talking about rescheduling or you're talking about things canceling or just stuff happening. It's like you gotta have the business in order.
My graduates from my school being Forbes, bag drop.
Bag drop.
A mic drop, bag drop.
Bag drop.